Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me over there, co-worker in the mornings, talk sports, 7 to 10, Jon Reed, FANRUN Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, in the new studio. Jon, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastically well. What's up, Chase?
Hey, man, this is funny. Like, I just leave one studio, go to the other. You're in this studio. We're cranking it. When I was leaving, you were recording something, and I don't know what it was, but yeah.
I've been in the same place since 10 a.m., just in here grinding.
I think a lot of people are, every time I walk by it and the setup in there, it's kind of cool too. That's going to be a hangout. Like, that is going to be something that people are pretty comfortable in. That is, it's a good long-term play.
And everything is improving around here. You know, like everything is getting better. The new radio setup's much better, which makes now the podcast room much better. But and all the improvements, I've been cucked out of my chair. I don't have an office space anymore. So, like, I don't have a desk to work at anymore. So now I just casually have to come in here and sit in these leather chairs and have my skin get stuck to the leather. I got to quit wearing shorts. Like, it's been uncomfortable for me personally, but as, you know, kind of the leader of the content department and really, you know, like the leader of the radio side, it's just a sacrifice that I have to make for everybody. So I'm happy to help put the brand on my back and sacrifice here.
We need to talk to our leader here and get a new like just a room. See if we can put that in the budget, like just an office let's just carve out an office for Jon somewhere.
Yeah. Now I just kind of walk around like the boss in Office Space, just I don't have a home. I just walk around and check on people, which I say that, you know, jokingly. I'm not actually checking on people, but I feel like I am. I feel like when I come into a room, people want to pretend like they're busy doing something, and it's just miserable all around.
You do have a boss aura when you walk in.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Like, I walk in, and I'm kind of nervous. I'm always like, what does Jon think today?
Yeah, Chase asked me, like, oh, what's going on? What do I need to do? I'm like, I don't know, man. Just figure it out. Like, that's what people always ask. Like, you got any, what should I do here? What should I do? I've been trying to, this time I've been faking, like, as a sales professional for Sam, as he's trying to, like, deal with an ad agency, and I'm having to, like, be his boss to come in and, like, answer these questions, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm just making it up, too, but he's passing the buck up to me. But you know, I've always heard, Chase, fake it until you make it. And now I'm kind of living it here. I think we all
100%.
kind of are, but yeah, now I am.
I mean, it's just the whole thing with parenting. As you get older, you're like, you're your parents' age at this, and you're like, man, it's just, we're all doing the best we can. We're all working. There's no magic thing that happens when you become an adult. You just know things. You're figuring it out as you go.
That's pretty jarring when you get to this age and you realize, like, adults have always just been kind of full of it. Like, yeah, when you're kids, you are taught to just respect adults and just assume that what they're saying is correct. But I know a lot of dumb people that, like, I shouldn't have been giving them respect when I was 15, 14, 16 years old. They don't have any idea what's going on.
Have you gotten sir yet? A lot.
Do I get sir? I get sir all the time from the interns. Yeah, the interns call me sir.
Do you like sir?
Like it. No, because I don't. In my mind, and I was talking about this with one of my girlfriends, not in that way, but one of my girlfriends who's, you know, around my same age, and we were just having this conversation, and I was like, I still feel like mentally 25. And that might not be a good thing. Like, you know, maybe it's like, hey, grow up. You're not 25, you're 35. But like in my mind, I feel the same way I did when I was 25. Like, I still want to, like, do most of the same things. So I don't really think it's an age thing. I've always said this. I don't think it's an age thing as much as it is just like a responsibility thing. So, like, never having those kids, I don't know if I ever hit that last gear of, like, adulthood. And maybe if you have a kid, you're like, okay, now I actually have to be responsible for people's lives. But I haven't hit that. So, like, I still feel like I'm, you know, one of the guys. Like, when I talk with the college kids or the kids, you know, 25, 26 years old around the office, like, I kind of view them as equals of sorts. But they're like, actually, I'm the old man they call sir or Unc. Shout out to former intern Luca. He always called me Unc.
There you go. It's also like one of those things where you and I are around the same age, and like we were talking about, like with the younger crowd, like the interns and the guys right there in the middle of us, you know, with the Shumps, the Sylvias, the Fosters, Ethan, And then you have the guys like our age, like it's the Ben McKees, it's the Patrick Browns, Ryan Callahan. They're all doing the family and kids thing, and we're like I'm married, I'm happily married, but I'm also not in the kid. So I'm like in the middle, like I'm somewhere trapped because you can tell there's something that shifts. Like when you go to the family side, there's the family ball reporters, and then there's like this. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh no, 100%. Like, and it's kind of weird because I mean that happens in your friend groups too. Obviously, like I got a group of friends who aren't necessarily even single, but like don't have all the kids and responsibilities. And I got other friends who like, hey, I can't do that. I got to be home with the wife and kids. And it's just kind of weird balancing that. So it's strange. You know, like I said, I don't know if it's an age thing as much as it is just like checking boxes off and accomplishing things, which it's kind of sad. At a certain point, Chase, I just kind of start feeling like unfulfilled and like, are we put on this earth to like procreate? Like, am I supposed to be having kids? Or do I even want kids? Like, how do I even feel about that? Like, am I too old to even be doing content? Like, you know, content's a young man's game, Chase. So I feel like here I am on TikToks as a 35-year-old. What the hell am I doing with my life? I got a buddy that's like running a like big region at a big cell phone provider. Another buddy that's like running a big region of Amazon. And then like here I am here's my video where I'm ranking the top rivals. It's kind of,
but I would say,
and I just get a little depressed and just kind of like, oh, what's going on here? I don't even want to be here anymore. That's how I feel.
They might envy you though.
No, they do. They do.
That's the whole thing. You're wondering about yourself and you're comparing them, and then they're like, well, I mean, that'd be cool. I'd love to do content every day. Like they're thinking the same thing flipped.
Well, they definitely do, except for the money part of it. They really enjoy the money part of the things they do. But yeah, no, like that's the trade-off. Like, you know, I was just kidding about the depression and like existential crisis there. But like,
well, hold on, kind of. You were talking Talk Sports this week. Like you were up pretty late. I seem to recall you opened a show with your lying down thinking a lot for a couple hours.
Yeah,
there, John.
It is true. I don't really want to get into it all the way.
We don't have to get into it.
I was trying to play it off as a joke, Chase, but if you really want to know, like it is a little bit of a rough time of year, and I feel this dread. I don't know how you feel, but me, not to make this whole podcast just about me and my life, but I do get really stressed out this time of year. From now until like actual like football season and the games start, I am irritable. I don't sleep well. I'm constantly like trying to think of new content ideas that we should try to implement for football season. And then I'm thinking about how do we get them implemented? Then I'm like, hey, it's busy season. Now's where you can actually go out and make some real good money. So you got to do sales. And you're freaking out about that. But you got to make sure the show is still good for the 3 hours you're on the radio every day. But it's like, hey, sales, content. And that doesn't turn off for me. Like, I don't deal with anxiety or depression or anything. But like, I do feel stressed and anxious really just from like July 1st to like September 1st. So 2 months out of every year, I'm just a nervous wreck. Like it drives me crazy. So I don't sleep well really from now until September.
We got to work on that, John. This is an exciting time. This is a fun time. Just take it day by day, man. Day by day.
No, you got to plan. It's not day by day. You got to
day by day. I mean, you can stack stuff. Like you could be building, but also live in the moment. Just like it'll get there. You'll get there. The days will come.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem.
I mean, it's gonna come. Like whether or not
the days are gonna come. I got to be ready for them.
We're all doing the best we can, John. You're doing a great job. You're doing fine.
You're gonna want an umbrella when it starts raining, Chase. You know what I mean?
I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. That's part of like getting older too. Is like the angst that I had in my 20s is just not there in my 30s. Maybe like also being married to your best friend really helps. Like it's just nice.
Oh, good for you. I'm married to my best friend.
It's nice, man. Like it's just really soothing. Like I'm not like I would. It's just different.
You told me she gave you a haircut.
Yeah.
Last night, so you got a woman there to cut your hair. Oh, look at you. Good for you. I cut this hair by myself. I cut this hair by myself. I don't have a wife to cut my hair.
Hold on. I don't think you really cut your hair because it's pretty clean. You're shaving that head.
Well, how do you
I mean, it looks like you're doing like the like a.
I'm not doing a straight razor. I mean,
you're not doing a straight razor.
No, I got clippers.
That's low for clippers.
Well, if you really want to get into it, it doesn't really grow in the front anymore, so it looks a lot lower than it probably would. Now on the sides, like, yeah, I mean, it looks
Okay.
pretty good, but like,
Yeah.
no, like, just it doesn't really grow up here anymore, Chase.
Mm.
Okay, let's get to some sports.
We're the Ball brothers. I mean, there's some content here
We are.
in
We are.
FANRUN Fox Sports Knoxville because it's really just you and me, right? On
Bear,
the radio,
Bear, he doesn't really count because he's an old man, so he's allowed to be bald.
but he's in a hat every day.
He's in a hat every day. You know, sometimes you go hat, sometimes you don't go hat.
Yeah,
I've pretty much got to the point where I don't want to wear hats anymore.
mine is more protection. I wear a hat just so I don't get burned. Like I'm a big hat guy just so I don't get burned at this point because I don't have any coverage. A lot less cloud coverage up top.
Yeah, I just don't really go outside enough to worry about getting burned. But yeah, if I go to like a baseball game, sure, I put a hat on there. But for the most part, I just kind of rock it. And it's also because I feel like my head's getting fatter. So like my hats don't fit as good anymore. So like on my snapbacks, I usually am like the second to last rung. But like recently I've really gotten to the point where I might have to go the last rung on a couple of my hats. So that's when I kind of quit wearing them. I was like, I don't know if they're getting smaller and shrunken from sweat or if my head's just getting fatter.
I don't know.
I just quit wearing hats.
I've seen. I mean, you were wearing a hat. You wear a Titan hat pretty consistently.
Yes. No, not consistently. You're thinking of Jay. You're thinking of intern Jay. I'll wear my Vols.
Hold on. Not even just Jay. I don't think I've ever seen Sam Beer without the Titan snapback that he wears. I think that's an everyday thing.
He has a rotation. He has a different rotation of hats, but he is in a hat pretty much every day. Cody McClure's in a hat. I'd say about 70% of the time.
Cody McClure in a hat 70. I don't. Oh, I guess so. I guess that's the Vols hat. Yeah, I guess he does wear that a pretty consistent amount.
He works that Vols cap. He stays Vols up there, but I'd say it's about 70% of the time. Sam's about 98%.
Yeah,
99%. RB, he's about 80%. I'd say.
Yeah.
Vols Tim 85. He's about 65, 70%. I'd say. He's kind of a bald cousin. He's holding on to it. He's got the big bad bald spot, but he just rocks it and it works for him.
Did you start in the front or the back?
Front, right here.
Okay.
Right here. And I could have milked it. I could have milked it and I think by now it would be bad, but I could have milked it with a comb over because like the rest of it was okay, but like just that one spot. So it was really thin.
Yeah.
But I got tired of doing the comb over and I always like to buzz in my head. So I just buzzed it probably like 4 or 5 years too early. And then like it never really grew back in that spot. So I just said, I'm just going to keep it short. Because I like to think I'm just comfortable in it. Like I was just like, hey, I'm just going to rock it. I look fine with a shaved head.
Well, it's just one of those, like you're fighting your genealogy. You're fighting some
people say
I'm the genes, man. Like it's just my dad's bald. All of his brothers are bald. Yeah. My grandfather's bald. It's just kind of like one of those. You just kind of accept it, like you move forward. We had a good run.
It wasn't that good for me, honestly. Things have been better since I've been bald, really.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Same for me. Got married bald. I never thought I would get married bald, but I got married bald.
All right. Congrats.
John really doesn't like the marriage conversation. He's so over it.
It's not that hard. I could get married if I wanted to. All I got to do is ask somebody.
No, you don't have to just ask somebody. You got to ask the right person, man.
Yeah, they'll say yeah. I can find people that say yeah. I mean,
you don't want to just find somebody who could say yeah. You want to find the right man. You want to find the right person.
I could have had many girls throughout my years say yes had I just asked. I've just never asked. No big deal. Whatever.
You'll get there. It's nice.
I'll get there. I'll get there when I want to get there. Don't big boy me. I'm about to hang up. Let's move on. Find a new slant.
Oh man,
do you get that reference? Do you remember the was it Colangelo? Was that who it was? Jerry Colangelo?
Yeah,
who used to work for the Sixers.
Yes,
and he got caught with the burner.
Oh, that was Brian, his son.
Brian. Jerry. Yeah, Jerry was the dad. Brian Colangelo, when he got caught with the burner like 6 or 7 years ago, and he had gotten mad. The way he got caught was one person had gotten under his skin by making fun of his suits. I think it was like
because they have a really big collar or something. Like the collars are huge.
So like he wrote back defending himself. It was like find a new slant. So I like saying that.
Goodness gracious! That was great.
Somebody understands the reference.
And if you don't go back and look, if you just type in the Ringer Brian Colangelo burner, you'll find the piece. They did a huge long form investigation piece way back when, but. Yeah, no, that was great stuff. Naturally, this brings us to some Tennessee talk here, Jon Reed. Ostensibly, we're going to talk some Tennessee, as we do every day, on the radio, on the podcast, all over the place, each and every day. We're like you, we are addicted to the content grind, and we have a lot to still put out here every day. Call your shot, Jon Reed. Ariel Antigua, who did not enter the portal, who's raking right now in the Yappy League, is going to be the starting shortstop for Tennessee next year.
All right, Chase, look, here's the deal. I'm not trying to big boy you the way you tried to big boy me with marriage. I saw this on your rundown, and I am just simply refusing to answer the question. With all due respect to Ariel Antigua, if he's listening,
he's actually a subscriber to the show on YouTube.
Well, I hope he is. And, you know, the videos of him on Jimmy Kimmel back in the day were really cool as a kid. I could not care less about Ariel Antigua right now in July of 2025. Ask me again. Let's do another podcast. I'll come on in like January and we'll discuss. I have no thoughts on Tennessee's starting shortstop right now. Do you think he'll be the starting shortstop? So, actually, with all due respect, I don't even want you to answer because I don't want to think about Tennessee baseball right now. Word to Tony Vitello, and that's great, but like the transfer portal, you can update me there, but no, I'm sorry.
I've never had a guest just reject a question.
I refuse. Nope. You're not asking me Ariel Antigua questions right now in July. And again, I'm not trying to big boy. I just nope.
Hold on, just to be clear. I think you started this answer with "I'm gonna big boy you" the way you big boyed me in terms of marriage. You kind of started this answer saying you were gonna do that very thing.
See, I think I was trying to say I wasn't going to do it, but maybe who knows? Sometimes my words don't fully form. Sometimes it's just kind of troublesome as a person who talks for a living. But nope, let's move on.
I'm not moving on yet because I have an Ariel Antigua thing I want to talk about here, John.
Floor is yours. Floor is yours. Go ahead.
I don't think enough ball fans are giving Ariel enough credit for what he is doing and the risk he is taking here. Going into year 3, where there's so much turnover, right? And they're still like Tennessee's looking at the Cal shortstop before he ends up at Georgia Tech, super talented kid. Like they're looking to upgrade around the middle of the infield. Like there's no guarantees. Ariel slid in there due to injuries for a little bit and Dean's issues at short. Like he was able to get a lot of starts. The bat never came around. Super talented bat. He was super important to get to campus 2 years ago. Like he was a big time prospect that it hasn't all worked out from the bat. The air stuff has to get cleaned up. I think that will. He's still your most talented defender. He is still someone who was a bit, like I said, a big time get. He's raking in the Appy League. If he's a great story because in so many of these situations, the kid leaves, right? Like there's no guarantees Ariel Antigua is your starter. And this is a gigantic year for him. The year 3 time for college baseball players is huge. It's like kind of, blank or get off the pot. And he is going to compete. Like Manny Marin, we'll see where he slides in. Jay Abernathy in the infield, Chris Newstrom. Like there's going to be a lot of competition. We'll see if they add another infielder before it's all said and done. But I just want to give Ariel Antigua his props for running it back for one more year with so much uncertainty in that middle of the infield. And if the bat's not there, he can't be an everyday player. But he's going straight to the Appy League, hitting there really well. Super talented guy. If he puts it all together, it's a great story. And the other part about Ariel, I mean, he already endeared himself to Tennessee fans everywhere for how he approached the LSU first baseman a few months ago. And he's feisty, and he's someone that I think will be a beloved baseball figure if he does put it all together, because I think he's a confident dude. And I think he's going to ruffle some feathers around the SEC if he can put it all together. And it'd be a lot of fun. I think it is a great story because when Tony talked about like there may not be another Trey Lipscomb in this era of college baseball, Ariel Antigua sticking around and not being an everydayer for 2 years and then that third year finally putting it together, I think that's just a rarity. Like we don't see that very often. And I think it's kind of being overlooked that Ariel, who I thought was going to enter the portal just based on numbers and where things stood this year going into next year, I didn't see a natural, like a guaranteed spot for him. Like Dylan Lloyd left for the guarantee of Georgia Tech, right? As a weekend starter. He's back. Ariel Antigua was back to fight for a job. And I don't know. I just think that kudos to him for Ariel for fighting through this.
I concur.
Yeah, I'm an Ariel guy, man. I am.
No, I mean, you are right that everyone's going to root for him. Like he is a crowd favorite, and like you hope it clicks for him. And sure, like he's not running from the grind. Now I don't know where he could run to, where he'd have a better chance of starting. on a premier program. So, like, I think you would take your chances of breaking through here at Tennessee, a place where you've laid roots and, built up some sweat equity, because it's not like he can transfer to LSU and be a starter, or Arkansas or Florida or Vandy, I don't think. So, like, I do feel like it's smart from a business standpoint to stay here and try to get on this stage, on this platform for this program. It'd be tough for all these players. I do think about it when guys transfer away from the program and end up just at bad places, or just places with no juice. Like we had a wide receiver I saw leave to go to like Charlotte, and I was like, how did that happen? Like, how do you go from being on the team in front of 100,000 people to just like, yeah, I'm okay with playing my football in front of Charlotte fans? Like, I get wanting to get on the field, but like, I just think the drop off would be so bad, so tough to deal with. I don't know.
Yeah. Next up, VIP play. You do the slate over there with William Pattison, and you did a great video on the VIP play, all 12 games that Tennessee's betting lines would be projected to be here in early July this year.
No, not projected. They're already out. You can bet on them.
Okay.
They're out.
I mean,
so
I'm just saying they can change between now and the start of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. They're preseason lines. Yeah.
But when you look at it, Jon Reed, what is the most fascinating one to you right now of the 12?
I'm pulling them up so that I have them all. I wasn't trying to like not look at my phone and not pay attention to you. I'm pulling up all 12 spreads so I can go through them with you and tell you what I think, because I want to get it right. And to me, Oklahoma only being minus, or Tennessee only being minus 3.5 at home against Oklahoma, that one jumped out initially because I was a little surprised at how low it is. And I know Oklahoma's got some hype, maybe deserved, maybe not. But with how late it is in the season, I think it's more likely that Oklahoma has proven to just kind of be a middle-of-the-pack SEC team. And even if Tennessee is only a middle-of-the-pack SEC team, I feel like the home field advantage at that point would have that line closer to 6.5, 7 points by the time, it rolled around. That was the one in terms of the quote-unquote big games for Tennessee that stood out. I was also surprised that Tennessee was only 13.5 against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a tricky spot for Tennessee on the road, but like they were so bad last year. And to me, it just the overall hope for this season for Josh Heupel is just that he gets back to beating teams down that he's supposed to beat down. Like that was the book on Josh for most of his first 3 years, was like, hey, if you were overmatched, you were probably going to get ran off the field. Like, he was good at putting the hammer down and blowing teams out. Last year, it didn't quite go that way. Maybe it would have been trending that way against Mississippi State in Knoxville had Nico not gotten hurt. And, you had Gaston Moore out there throwing, the best play was just hope for a pass interference down the field. But, I think anytime you can get Tennessee against overmatched teams under 2 scores, that's interesting to me. Same for like UAB only being 31.5 points on that spread. Like Tennessee usually beats those overmatched non-conference teams by at least like 42. Usually, like it is overwhelm them.
Yeah, I like that.
Did any of them stand out to you?
I think the Mississippi State one is interesting because I do think that 13.5 is about right, because of just, look, if Blake Shapen's healthy and they get them early, like that's the whole thing. Blake Shapen was good for those first 3 or 4 games before he got knocked out last year. I mean, he was good against Arizona State. Blake Shapen, I think, is in the top half of SEC quarterbacks. I mean, he was the starting quarterback on a Baylor team that knocked Oklahoma State out of the CFP in that Big 12 title game. He's played a lot of college football. And it's a road environment, like Heupel on the road. And that, I think, is going to be one of those 7:00 night games with the cowbell going, and one of those just later, not as big SEC games that, I don't think it's going to be the same as Arkansas last year, but I do think it wouldn't surprise me if there's some juice to that game being a game come the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. I think it's there.
Okay. I mean, you might be right. Maybe I'm not buying enough into Mississippi State taking a step forward.
It depends on Blake Shapen's health. If Blake Shapen is healthy, I think their 2 running back combo is going to be pretty good. I think the offense could give Tennessee some problems.
Oh, God.
We'll see.
Oh no!
The other one I would give you though on this that I
my
think
excitement so far down for the season. I've been penciling Mississippi State in as a sure win, and here
I
you
wouldn't
are.
pencil them in as a sure win right now.
Yeah, here you got me sweating. So, oh god, I'm back to that existential dread that I feel.
Do you know who's a pencil? Two things, and that you're not going to like this. That I would say I would pencil in a win no matter what, but I think it's going to be a gross win. Arkansas at home. 10.5 is too high for that game. That game is going to be like 17-20, and every Tennessee fan coming out of that game's like, "Oh God, that was awful."
Well, I don't think you can say pencil in a win. Then that Tennessee's going to win if you think it's going to be a 3
I think they're going to win ugly.
game.
It's going to remind me of 2023 Texas A&M Tennessee. I think you're going to get some slop in Arkansas and Tennessee. I just don't think you're going to get up for that game. You're coming off a bye in between Mississippi State and Arkansas. You're on the road. We'll see how that game goes. I think that just where it is in the schedule and what Arkansas Tennessee has been traditionally in football, I could see that being just a slop fest and not being one that Tennessee ends up blowing the doors off. And folks are like, well, come on. What are we doing here? Why are we playing with our food against Arkansas, even at home? But I have no worry that they're losing that game, but they're going to win. I think that's a win ugly game.
Oh, we were saving plays for the Alabama game. We didn't want to unleash the playbook. Oh God, I can hear it now.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I just think that's what you're gonna hear this Arkansas game. I'm not looking forward to Tennessee Arkansas. I think they're gonna win, but I don't think it's gonna be a fun conversation and a fun watch.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fun. It's fun.
You only get one of the three here, Jon Reed.
Okay.
Savion Hiter, Darius Gray, Tristen Keys. You only get one. Who's your one you take?
It's a good question. I thought about this, and then I was like, I don't know if I have an answer. Maybe when Chase asks me, some clarity will come to me. And I think it has, a 5-star running back would be really cool, but I do think that beating, at the very worst, the second best program in the country when it comes to wide receivers. You can argue about Ohio State, LSU, whatever. Like, they're the top 2 programs in the country when it comes to wide receivers. So if you're able to beat LSU for a wide receiver, I think that's a huge statement. I also think the combination of Faison Brandon and Tristen Keys, getting them here at the same time and like having them grow, could make it one of, if not the most iconic, like, quarterback wide receiver combo of Tennessee history. Like, and I say that, and of course I know there's been great ones like, Peyton Manning and Peerless, but like, I always thought it was a little weird that Peerless was, or not weird, but like Peerless was here one extra year after Peyton. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Marcus Nash and Peyton almost had more of a thing, but he left a year early, I feel like, or maybe it was the same time. Either way. But like, those guys coming in together, if they were here and let's just say they ball out together for 3 years, win a bunch of games, and go to the NFL at the same time. Like, I just think that would be so cool. So I'll take Tristen Keys over the other two. I get the idea for Gray. Like, you want a lineman. Yeah, I got that. But I want something flashy and fancy right now. And I was in Columbus watching Tennessee get their heads beaten in, and I saw Jeremiah Smith, and I said, I want one of them. Not saying Tristen Keys can do that, but it'd be nice to have somebody that could do, 90% of that. And maybe that's the type of guy that could.
I tend to agree at this point. I do think what we've learned through 4 years with the hype offense, I think Darius Gray is a distant 3 for me. I don't need to be in the business of giving out big deals to guards. Like, I don't care. Like, it's just, if he could play tackle, sure. But he is being listed coming into college as an interior guy. Like, JB Shabazz right now is listed as a tackle, but he seems like someone who could swing inside if they need him to. That is something I'm more like. Shea Mumarov came in as a tackle from Denmark as a 4-star. He's now looking at guard. He might be the starting right guard this season. That makes more sense to me. You want that versatility. I'm not going big after a guy who's literally just going to be an interior guy. Like, I don't think you can do that for me. So he's a distant 3 to me. And I think the Keys part of it, will be a huge win to pull a kid out of Mississippi in this recruitment. Like, I think that has just been traditionally, outside of Florida, the hardest place to pull for Tennessee in the high school level. So I think that'd be a huge win and be super cool. And obviously with him being super cool with Faison and company. It kind of has that Peyton feel when Peyton was recruiting all these superstars around him. Like that would be really fun to get the Marcus Nash, the Peerless prices of this era. And I also just think we've tried to replace. I mean, you struck lightning in a bottle with Cedric Tillman, who had shown no signs in the Pruitt era of being a go-to receiver. Like he was more of a blocking guy. He had the size and frame. But now he's a starter with the Browns. Like he was a huge win for you and developed into a go-to guy. Jalen Hyatt is a burner. We've gotten a different kind of slot every year under Heupel, which has been interesting. You thought it would just be kind of the burner types in the middle, but it hasn't. Like Velus Jones is completely different than Hyatt, and Squirrel White was completely different than Hyatt. And now Braylon Staley is more of like a Cedric Wilson type. So you're going to have another different type of guy over the middle of the field, a lot of mesh stuff with Staley. But I'm with you where I just think there's so much unknown at receiver, and you just need so many bodies, and you just need guys who are going to help these young quarterbacks, because that's been part of it. Was Ramel Keaton falling off a cliff in 23 really hurt Joe in that receiver room. Squirrel not being healthy last year really hurt Nico's development of just not having him at 100% as your best returning receiver, and just not having any guys outside of Dante, because Dante was fantastic when he was on the field. He led all of college football in yards per reception at like 25.8. But like you need some just guys that you just plug and play like a Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. And it's just Tennessee's best version of themselves is an elite passing game. They were number 1 in scoring their best passing year. They were top 10 in scoring their second best passing year in 2021. Yes, they've run the football at an elite level, and last year especially. But last year, I think you can make the case was the worst offense of the 4 years, and Dylan Sampson had the best year. So I don't think the best version of Tennessee that can win a national championship or go on a deep playoff run is a team that is built around their running. I don't want to say built around the running game, built around their running back. And if the running back is the best player in a Heupel offense, that offense can't win, I think, in January.
I would say the 23 offense was worse. Or at least I found it to be worse. Now, granted, they didn't have the shutouts in the first half like Tennessee was dealing with last year, but I felt like the Tennessee offense wasn't bad the second half of the season, especially in second halves. So I would say that 23 was worse. But no, you're right. I mean, the passing game has been lacking both years regardless, no matter how you slice it. It'd be nice to get back to like hitting deep balls and being explosive, with the home run threats. That's something Sampson lacked last year too, that I'm hoping Peyton Lewis and Star Thomas, those guys can hit and actually have the explosive long touchdown runs.
I mean, that's what made Jalen different. Like Jalen was just a speedster first, then he put on the weight and the muscle over the years at UT. But I mean, when he got to the second level, I will still maintain Jalen is the best kind of running back in a Heupel scheme. The guy who, when you're doing these wide splits and light boxes, he's the one who scares defenses the most, just with the speed and his power when he gets that second level and bouncing off contact. Like his run against Georgia, that's different. Like Dylan Sampson was not that kind of running back last year for Tennessee. He was great after contact and could keep getting additional yards, but he was not a game wrecker like Jalen Wright was. Jalen Wright, I think, averaged like 7 yards a carry in 23.
I mean, he outran that entire, Georgia defense on the first play, which is funny because then I think he had 20 yards on the next 11 carries, but still. For that one play, he was a king.
I'm glad I was in the end zone for that one, by the way. I don't know. Were you at the game?
No. Okay. I don't go to games that I know we're going to get our ass beat in. And excuse my language, but no, I didn't go to that one.
How many games? Do you not? I figured you were a season ticket guy.
No.
Interesting.
No. I'm big game John, Chase. I only go to the big games. I'm not going to go watch us play, the Kentuckys of the world. I don't go to those.
No. Okay.
Unless somebody just gives me a ticket and I catch a wild hair or whatever. But no, I'll go to us playing Georgia and I'll go to us playing Oklahoma this year.
Did you say catch a wild hair?
Yeah, catch a wild hair and go. I don't know. You never heard
catch a wild hair?
Is it not?
I've never heard that before.
I feel like it is.
Athens, Tennessee. Is that in McMinn County?
Whoa! Don't dox me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
No, I'm kidding. Get a wild hair.
It was known like that.
Have you ever heard of get a wild hair?
No.
Okay, well, get a wild hair is like the phrase. I said catch a wild hair, so
okay,
catch a wild hair technically isn't the phrase, but get a wild hair is. But I was saying the same thing.
Okay,
yeah, it's a thing. You should look it up.
Is it a Southern expression?
I mean, you're from Georgia, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're from the South. Yeah, I feel like all sayings are Southern. No. I feel like all sayings are Southern.
I mean, we're both Sopranos guys. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you hear on Sopranos.
Oh, that's That's the only saying I get on there is, oh, get a wild hair.
I'd never heard that
I'm
expression. I'm gonna ask my wife when she gets home.
okay.
She's heard it. Favorite SEC hoops matchup for UT in 25-26 is who?
When you say favorite, you mean what?
Like the game you're most looking forward to based on what that roster looks like on that opposing team versus what you think Tennessee is going to look like. Which is the game you have circled that you're most intrigued by?
I mean, I want to see, Tennessee, and I'm year in, year out, I'm most intrigued with Tennessee, Alabama. A, because Tennessee is on the right side of it, and B, just because it's such a stylistic clash. Like, the offense versus the defense, physicality versus, finesse. Like those things to me, I like watching. Styles make fight, and I think Tennessee, Alabama usually plays some pretty good games because of that. And it's nice being on the right side of the physicality matchup. I enjoy that.
It does feel like Tennessee, Alabama hoops. I mean, obviously you had the game winner from Jemai this year, but the big time battles between Sears and Zakai and how they're kind of built this year is how Alabama was built 2 years ago with Brandon Miller and Mark Sears. And Shump made a good point on this, as I hadn't considered, is that Tennessee is kind of like that Alabama team 2 years ago, where they're built around their longtime point guard who's bounced around and worked his way up, and then a 5-star projected top 3 pick in Nate Ament. And I think it's pretty fascinating. I hadn't considered it until he brought it up, but I thought it was a good comparison of Bama, Tennessee, and that this is kind of the new version of it.
No, I mean, Nate Ament himself makes me excited for every SEC game. Like every SEC game, as far as I'm concerned, will be must watch for Tennessee, just because he is truly, we talked about Jeremiah Smith and Ohio State. Like, to me, Nate Ament is that for Tennessee. Not saying he'll be the best, because there's an argument that Jeremiah Smith could be the best wide receiver of all time in college by the time he leaves. Like, if he keeps that trajectory, I'm not saying Nate's going to be that, or even Cooper Flagg, but for Tennessee standards, like he could be the best, most talented player that Tennessee's ever had. Like, he's projected to be a top 3, top 4 NBA draft pick. So like that alone, puts him in rarefied air. But I'm excited for every single game he's going to play. Final
thing, I'll get you out of here on this, John. Ethan Davis or Desean Bishop, who do you think is a better bet to break out this year?
I'll go Ethan Davis, just because, I think Desean Bishop, look, I don't want to be rude or offend a local kid, and he was good last year. He was solid. He's a solid B- running back. And I don't mean that dismissively if it comes across that, but like, I just think him dealing with 2 other running backs like Peyton Lewis and Starr, I think both those guys are going to really cut into some opportunities. And I could see him maybe being the third in that trio by the time, we hit the halfway point of the season. Whereas Davis, I mean, I think if this offense is going to get back to throwing passes and being fast and spreading out, I think he has a chance to really be that tight end hybrid that could be a mismatch nightmare, if you can get him matched up against linebackers and, as a traditional tight end that actually is out there, fast and can catch. So I'm excited for him. He showed flashes of it last year, I thought, of being a game breaker, but just it never obviously got there. Game 1, though, like, he had those, was it 2 touchdowns in game 1? At least the one across the middle. Like, you thought, okay, this guy's about to be a star. And then it never clicked. But I think the talent's there. I'm most excited for him.
I think he's gonna have an opportunity. I mean, him and Miles, I think, are gonna play a bunch. I don't think the two tight end 12 personnel set is gonna disappear this year, though, what we saw last year. I think when you recruit the level that they are right now with Desan Brame and Jack Van Dorsley are also jumping in, I think Tennessee found something with 12 personnel that they liked, and I think they're gonna do more and more of that. And I also just think Davis is someone, because you have to score more touchdowns in the red zone. Like, that was something that was down last year for Tennessee. It's been down the last 2 years at Tennessee. They got to have as many mismatches on offense in the red zone. Ethan Davis is a mismatch in the red zone. Boo Carter, mismatch in the red zone. I just think those guys need to be on the field when things get tight and when things get really difficult to score. Like, Davis should be that Swiss Army knife guy. He should be in the slot a little bit. You should be able to move him around in a Kyle Pitts type fashion. And I just think he's too talented not to let him cook in the red zone. I think that's where he could be the most valuable for Tennessee, kind of like a Princeton Fant, where he was just kind of a Swiss Army knife type of dude, and Tennessee really, really utilized Princeton Fant really well. I'm not saying it's a 1-to-1 comp, but I do think Davis needs to be added to that red zone mix where when things get tight and it gets only more difficult to score. And I go to Davis. I think big year for Davis. And like you, Desean Bishop's just a professional running back. The dude had 1 billion carries at Carnes. He knows how to hit holes. He knows what is expected of him. He knows how to be a good running back. But I think it's just, we're going more towards committee, and he needs to focus on staying healthy. Like, I hope the ankle's all right, and I hope he's able to make it through a full year, because he's been banged up the last 2 years. He got hurt in fall camp 2 years ago and missed the whole year. And last year he missed some time in and out with injuries. So I think for him, it's just staying healthy. And I think he's going to be someone who needs to be in the rotation, because you got to make sure he's healthy for the stretch run, because they're not as deep as they were a year ago at running back.
I concur.
Jon Reed, we can hear you on Talk Sports 7 to 10 Monday through Friday with Cody McClure and Bad News Bubba over there on FANRUN Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that FANRUN Radio app. So make sure you give John and Cody and the good guys over there a listen Monday through Friday for all kinds of great sports talking segments and everything else over there with John and company. So I appreciate you giving me the time, my friend, and I will see you tomorrow.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.